let's get started. We're not here just to survive. We should be thriving. As I mentioned, we should be going from glory to glory. God said that we are more than conquerors. Then we should be able to overcome sickness and disease. We can do it. We just have to believe it and act on it. It's a thing, as I mentioned, that takes discipline. You got to turn the TV off sometimes and get your little table set up with the word and a pen and a piece of paper, so things that hit your heart or things that you start being distracted with, you can write it down on that paper. So you won't forget that it needs to be done, and it'll be out of your mind so you can focus on the word. The thing is, once you're healed, you have to learn how to hold on to that healing. One way to be healthy is to keep your mind healthy by doing what Philippians 4:8 says. It says, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are noble, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of a good report, if there is any virtue, and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things." Because the way that things happen is you'll have suggestions running through your brain, and a lot of them aren't yours. Some of the crazy stuff that goes through your mind, you think it's you, but it's not. And so when negative things start running through your mind, he said, think on these things. And he gave you a list of the things to meditate on. And that's part of how you combat and lead every thought captive.
Yes, and the purpose of it is to protect your mind, because you can't go anywhere in your life, in your body, or attempt anything without first thinking it. So he's trying to get us, it's a technique as to how we are to guard our mind against negative things. If we, I heard someone say years ago, if your thoughts give you pain, bring you pain, change your thoughts. And for the average person, that's challenging, because we're always told what to do, but we're rarely told how to do it.
Yeah.
And the how to is actually very simple once you know how to do it.
How to do it.
So it's God tells us to do these things. Think on these things, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are noble, and so on, so that you will guard your mind against negativity, against the things that cause you to doubt his word.
Yeah. Because you know what? We weren't designed to hold stress. We weren't designed to have that negativity manifesting in our minds the way that it does today.
Correct.
So in Proverbs 18:21, it says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit." Now, I don't know how many times we've heard about what we say and how important it is to watch what comes out of our mouth.
Right.
Because your body will obey your mouth, whether you believe it or not. Your body will obey you a lot faster than it will anyone else, because it's constantly hearing you.
That's it.
Which means that's why you have to walk a certain way, because if you walk contrary to what the word says, then your body's going to be confused. And I'm trying to be nice with how I'm saying this. So we just have to walk the walk and talk the talk.
Another practical aspect of that is, if you're one of those people who say things that you don't mean, if you say you're going to do something and you're really not committed to following through with it, then your heart is confused. Because the word talks about confessing with your mouth and believing in your heart. And there are so many things in life that are, in fact, everything in life basically falls into that category. But if we are in the habit of not doing as we say, committing to the things that we say, or just saying things off the top of our head, not meaning it, then our heart is going to be confused. So when we go to try to rebuke the devil or throw this word out or take this word and speak it and proclaim it and try to get the results of that the word says, well, we haven't practiced the principles of God to the degree that we're any good at them. If we don't have integrity in our words and the things that we say.
Yep. So you have to speak life over yourself. That's what this verse is telling you, that you have a choice. And I'm telling you now to speak life over yourself every chance you get. I do it a lot. And I do it mainly when I'm going to bed. I start talking to my mind, everything, till I'm just completely done with my whole body. And I tell myself, you will live. Because I know how subtle and sly the adversary is. So, don't ever think that the devil will oblige you. You know, he's just a rotten being. He will try through obstacles, different obstacles that are put in your path so that you will lose your focus on what you're trying to stay focused with. But the key is being persistent. That's something that we have to do, is be persistent. We have to do what's best for us. And if we're overweight, then we need to get rid of it. If we're dealing with some ailments, we need to get rid of it. If we're dealing with mental issues, we need to get rid of it. We have access to the answers, as I mentioned before. God made our bodies so he can fix them. You know, when I think about this, like I mentioned in the previous episode, when you think about working on yourself, you can get overwhelmed. And talking about dealing with these ailments and mental issues and weight and whatnot can overwhelm you if you're dealing with them all in some fashion or another. And you just have to be able to prioritize. Okay, I know I have to deal with them all. Which one needs to be dealt with first? And go that route.
You know, you said God made our bodies so he can fix them. He has a built-in way of fixing it because he designed our bodies to heal itself. But just like any other being, even a plant, if you give the plant the things that it needs, what does it do?
It grows.
It flourishes. It's the same thing with the body. If you give your body what it needs, it flourishes. But he made our bodies different than any other being that he made, because he gave us a mind that affects everything within our body. In other words, if we give our mind, we feed our mind the word. You mentioned earlier to renew our minds to the word. Then that is nourishment to our entire body, to meditate on that day and night. It is health to our soul, the word says. So these are things that we need. If we have these things, our body is designed to heal itself, because the healing is in the Word of God. It's also, our bodies have the apparatus within it to accept that and to do what act according to the way God designed it. But it responds to the thoughts that are in our mind. And those thoughts affect our body as well.
Well, we also have to be in the right environment and have the right conditions
Right?
for those things to
Right.
manifest
To get
as
the
well.
nourishment that you need.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can have the nourishment that you need sucked out of you.
Yeah. The thing is that all these things that we just mentioned didn't happen overnight.
Right.
So it's going to take time to overcome many of these issues. And the point is that you're heading in the positive direction because you want to be obedient. And because you want to be able to run your race and finish your assignment that he gave you to do. You want to run that race, and if you fall, you just get up and keep moving.
Exactly.
Don't condemn yourself. But during this time in our lives, we have to take a stand because so many lies are being thrown at us from all kinds of directions.
Right.
And we need to have our minds and our hearts and spirit clear so we can discern good from evil. So we can discern good from evil. We can't be fooled into taking things that can harm us. Someone has to hold the line for God. Why not do whatever needs to be done so that you can take that stand against the wiles of the devil? You know, Ephesians says, having done all to stand. So what does that encompass? Having done all to stand. Pretty much
All.
some of the stuff we mentioned.
Exactly.
So he said, having done all to stand. So we got to do it. And he didn't say try to.
Right.
He said do it. Stand. So I'm practicing what I just talked about because leaders ought to be the first ones to set that example.
Right. You keep mentioning having what is necessary to run the race, to complete your assignment. In other words, in a race, I'm sure you've seen or heard about people running a race, someone falls down, or they drop the baton, or whatever. They pick it back up and they keep rolling.
They keep running.
If they fall, they get back up and they take off again. That really is a very vivid picture of how we're supposed to be. We don't have time to sit there and sulk and and pout. Oh man, I
hurt
failed.
my knee.
Now I'm not going to be in first place. You're hurting your team. You're hurting yourself, and you're hurting your team. You need to get back up, do the best that you can,
Right.
and God honors the best that you can.
Yeah.
In whatever situation, he honors the best that you can because he knows that the best that you can is going to come up to par to believing his word. That's the best that you can do.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Paul talked about when he was talking about the race, 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24, he said, know ye not that ye which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize. He's talking, remember, he's in the environment where they did the Olympics. And in the Olympics, the athletes prepared themselves physically and mentally for the race, which is what we're supposed to do for our task in life. So he said, but only one receives the prize. That's talking about those, know ye not that they which run in a race. He's actually talking about an actual race in this particular instance. So he said, so run that ye may obtain. Every man that strives for the mastery is temperate, self-control in all things. In all things. Know that Now they do it, the ones who actually run a race for a prize, they do it for a corruptible crown. But we, an incorruptible. I therefore so run, not as uncertainty. In other words, I know exactly what the prize is. I know exactly that I'm going to obtain that prize, he's saying here. Not as uncertainty, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. I know that's they spoke kind of different from us than beating the air. He's talking about shadow boxing. He's not just beating the air. Every blow that he throws, he's making contact and making progress in what he's attempting to do. He said, but I keep under my body. That is the word hupopiazzo, which means to hit under the eye. Check this out now. It means to hit under the eye, disable as an antagonist, or tease or annoy. In other words, in simple language, he's saying, I keep under my body. I tell my body what to do. If my body tries to demand that I be this way or that way, I punch it. He's not talking about physically punching his eye. This was symbolic. In other words, he's saying, I tell my body what to do. It's not just like I'm shadow boxing. When I make a proclamation, it actually makes progress because I mean what I say, and the word says I can do this. So I keep under my body. I bring my body under subjection. That's duo legagio. Duo, slave. It's a combination of duo and ago. To be means to be a slave, to drive. To enslave says, I'm the master of my body. I tell my body what to do. It says, lest by any means, when I preach to others, I myself should be a castaway or unapproved or rejected. In other words, I do this not only so that I can be successful, but I do it as an example to others. So they can't look at me and say, well, you don't even do what you're telling us to do. So he's saying, and as you said a while back, this is first and foremost to us. Because it's one thing when you hear the word. It's easy to ignore a lot of times, especially if you don't give it any thought. But if you are saying it, you're not only saying it, you're hearing it too. You're hearing what you say. First and foremost, before you can formulate it and it comes out of your mouth, the thought has to be there. You've already heard the thought in your head. And then you speak that thought. And then you hear it again because you just spoke it. So if you're wise regarding the word, that's why it's important to speak it. That's why it's important to read the word aloud. That's why it's important to meditate on it and try to picture yourself within what you're saying.
Right.
Because then you become it. It becomes you. And you can actually you start to believe what's God written. Says. Exactly.
Yeah, but he wants us to be on his plan. And I'm not just talking about being healthy. I'm talking about trusting God with your health. So let's take a second and inventory ourselves and see if we're really trusting God with our health. I'm not talking about praying to be healed. I'm talking about trusting God proactively with our health. Because it's all in the Word. Your body is strong and it will renew itself if you put it under the right manufacturer's conditions. It can be called terms and conditions. I call God the manufacturer because he's the great physician. He created our bodies. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. He designed a way that we can live the best life. And that's what I want. I want that second part of John 10:10 that says, Christ says, I am come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly.
Mm-hmm.
God said in 3 John that he wants the best for us. Verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
I want that for myself as well. And so when I think about terms and conditions, I think about when you purchase a car, for example. Maybe you're believing God for a new car and you finally purchase it. That's good news. However, it comes with a standard warranty. And then it comes with an owner's manual, which has some terms and conditions. Now, the car takes premium gasoline, but you don't want to pay $5.09, which today is actually $5.25. Nobody wants to pay that much for their gas.
Mm-hmm.
But you decide, well, you know what, I don't want to pay that amount. I'd rather use diesel. So not knowing how the car functions, you put diesel gas in the car because it's less, and you go on about your business, and a few days later, your car stops working.
Hate when that happens.
It stops working. Now it has to be towed to the dealership. And when you tell them that they sold you a lemon, and you're so confident, you tell the dealership that it's under warranty. So you're not thinking that you put the diesel in the tank, but you're like, well, the car's under warranty, so that should be good. You know, they should take care of it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Then you talk to the mechanic, and he says, there's some real problems here. And this has gone bad, that's gone bad, and he's telling you all these things that are malfunctioning. And you say, okay, go ahead and fix it. And then the mechanic tells you how much it costs. And you say, what? But it's under warranty. And he says, because you put the wrong fuel in it, you have voided the warranty.
Shame.
Let's look at Genesis chapter 6, verse 3. And here it says, and the Lord said, my spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. It tells us about our warranty. But some of us, the way we're treating our bodies, we're going to void that warranty. And the warranty only applies if you keep the product in its original condition or terms that it was meant to be in. So we all are talking about living long and strong 120 years. You know, at 120 years, if I make it that long, I'm believing. But if I make it that long, I want to be fully capable of feeding myself and taking care of myself and having a sharp mind, having an alert mind, having a sound mind, making sure, because the word says that I can do these things, because God said that he will renew our strength like the eagle, and he did not say an age. So believing his word is an awesome thing. And I don't want to have anybody taking care of me when I'm that old. And as I mentioned a while ago about not dying because you're ill, because you're sick, we have the ability to die because we're satisfied. We've ran our race, we've completed our assignment, and we're done.
He will satisfy us with long life.
With long life.
How long is that? Till you're satisfied.
Till you're satisfied. And so it's a big deal, the things that we think in our head. And as long as we keep feeding the word to ourselves and we believe what we're reading, we should be okay. The thing is, we can't throw whatever in our bodies because it doesn't work like that. We have to get our believing and our behavior lined up with what the Word of God says. I believe you're going to live long and strong. Long and strong. You need those two things. Because you're going to be healthy. That's why we're going to live according to what he told us in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 20. He said, my son, give attention to my words. Incline your ear to my saying. Do not let them depart from your eyes. Keep them in the midst of your heart, for they are life to those who find them and health to all your flesh, to all their flesh. He just told us right there. The key is paying attention to his word.
Incline your ear to my sayings.
That's the key right there. And he also told you, do not let them depart from your eyes.
Just like Joshua, this book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but ye shall meditate therein day and night. You mentioned that earlier.
Right.
Meditating on the word.
We have to do it because we want to live long and strong. We want to accomplish our task, our assignment, and we want to teach our kids to be the same way because God has to have a way, and we have to help that way come to pass through our family.
Next generation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so if we be that example, they'll see it and want it too, which is awesome. God's word is health for us. God has something to say about how we treat our bodies. You know, the original Hebrew word for health is translated medicine, healing, remedy, or cure. So I'm very thankful, and God bless everybody here.